Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students and viewers, welcome to Generai Online School. I am here again in front of you to take a class. I am Bilal Hussain, assistant teacher in English of Generai High School. Dear students, in the previous classes I have discussed on different parts of changing sentence. Today I also want to take another class on another part of changing sentence. My dear students, today the topic on which I am going to take a class, I am going to discuss is very important for you. Today's topic is sentences with structure. We know that there are three kinds of sentences are there in English language according to the structure, which are simple, compound and complex. My dear students, this topic is very important for you, especially for the students of class 9 or 10. Dear students, if you want to make a good result in English subject, you have to emphasize on the parts of changing sentence, and from all the parts of changing sentence, simple, complex, compound is very important. So my dear student, today I am going to take a class on changing sentences according to the structure. Do you know what is simple sentence, what's compound and what's complex sentence? Look at the whiteboard. I have written here the symbolism of simple, compound and complex sentence. The sentence which has only one subject and one finite verb is a simple sentence, and you will not find any linker in any simple sentences. Next, compound sentence. Compound sentence is a sentence which has two subject and two finite verb, which will be connected coordinating conjunction. Do you know what are the coordinating conjunction? These the coordinating conjunction are and, but, or, yet, so, etc. These are coordinating conjunction. But students, if you find a sentence which is connected with coordinating conjunction, it will be compound sentence. The students, complex sentence. How can you identify a complex sentence? Whenever you will find in any sentences two subject and two finite verb, then it will be a complex sentence, and these two parts will be connected with subordinating conjunction. What are the subordinating conjunction? Subordinating conjunctions are so that, though, although, since, as, when, if, a WH word, etc. Whenever you will find these conjunctions in any sentences, it will be a complex sentence. But students, it is very important topic, and you have to acquire knowledge how can you change a simple sentence into another sentence, that means compound and complex sentence. I will show you how can you change. Now I am going to write down the structure of this. Rule number 1. The students, so that, whenever you will find in any sentence so that, then it will be a complex sentence. If you want to change a complex sentence which is connected with so that, then you have to use very, and instead of so, and instead of that, then it will be a compound sentence. It is very easy. If you want to change this sentence into simple sentence, then you have to use to instead of so or very. you have to use TO2 instead of that, then it will be a simple sentence. But students, you have to keep in mind that after that you will find subject, can't or couldn't, verb 1, then object. After 2, you have to use verb 1, then object. And this is the structures of simple, complex and compound. I have written rule number 1. Now I want to show you by using these conjunctions and preposition in a sentence. Now I am going to write down an example. He is so weak that he can't walk. This is an example of a complex sentence. If you want to change this complex sentence into compound, then you have to follow these rules. You have to use, instead of so, very. Then you have to use, instead of that, and then rest of the sentences. This sentence has become a compound sentence. The students, instead of so, I have used very, instead of that, I have used and this is an example of a compound sentence. Very easy. But you have to keep in mind that whenever you will find these two subjects are same, then you can omit this subject number 2. You can omit. Okay, my dear students, then now I am going to write down this. I am going to change this sentence into simple sentence. He is so weak that he can't work. If you want to change this sentence into a simple sentence, then you have to use to, T-O-O-2, instead of so. I have written here, too weak. Then instead of that, you have to use TO2. Then you have to, the students, notice there that after 2, you have to use only verb 1, that object. You should not use any subject, any auxiliary verb. When you have written, you have made a sentence in a complex sentence, then after that we have found there is a subject and can't as an auxiliary verb. And whenever you will change this sentence into simple sentence, then you have to omit the second subject and auxiliary verb, because we have found the rule of simple sentence that after 2 is a preposition, and after preposition 2 you have to use only verb 1, and verb 1 is work, and here there is no object here. So this is an example of simple sentence. My students, it is very easy way to change a complex sentence into a compound and simple sentence. I want to repeat you again. Whenever you will find so and that in any sentence, it is an example of complex sentence. This sentence is an example of complex sentence, and I have made this sentence into compound sentence, and I have used very instead of so. He is very weak. Instead of that, I have used and this sentence has become a compound sentence. And I have made this sentence into simple sentence. Instead of so, I have used to. Instead of that, I have used to. And after to, I have omitted subject and can't, because after to, we will not be able to use any subject and any auxiliary verb. So I have to omit this subject and auxiliary verbs. So I have used here only the main verb, work. Okay, and work is infinitive verb, has become an infinitive verb. Okay, my dear students, in this way we can change a complex sentence into compound and simple sentence. It is very, very simple way to change these sentences. My dear students, now I am going to number 2 rule number 2. Whenever you will find in any sentences though or although, it is the rule of complex sentence. It will be a complex sentence. Whenever you will find in any sentence though or although, it will be a complex sentence. And though although connected sentence, if you want to change this sentence into compound and simple sentence, how can you change? If you have to use but, and there's a but, whenever you will find but, then it will be compound sentence. Whenever you will want to change this sentence into simple sentence, then you have to use in spite of or despite of. Then you have to use the possessive form of subject. Then verb 1 plus ing, then extension, and it is the structure of a simple sentence. I have written here the structure of as another structure of simple complex compound. Whenever you will find though although, it will be an example of complex sentence. Whenever you will find in any sentence but instead of comma, then it will be compound sentence. Whenever you will find in spite of, despite of, it will be a simple sentence. And students, now I am going to use these conjunctions in an example. Here I am going to write down an example. Though he reads more, he will fail in the exam. This is an example of a complex sentence, because we notice that before this sentence we have found though. As we have found though, it is an example of a complex sentence. But students, if you want to change this sentence into compound, you have to omit though at first, and you have to write down the first part of this sentence. He reads more. Then you have to use but instead of this comma. Then rest of the sentence, he will fail in the exam. And this is a very, very important rule of changing sentence. And you can find any example of in your exam from these rules. It is very, very important rule. Okay, my understanding. But it is very easy to change, to make this sentence into compound sentence. Whenever you will find though although, it will be a complex sentence. If you want to change this sentence into compound, then you have to use but instead of comma, and then you have to use rest of the sentence. It is very easy way. But students, if you want to change this sentence into simple sentence, then you have to use in spite of or despite of instead of though although. Now I am going to write down in spite of. Instead of though, I have written here in spite of. Then you have to use the possessive form of subject. Here subject is he. We know that the possessive form of subject he is his. I am going to write down, I have written here his. Then you have to use ing form with the main verb. Here main verb is read. I have used ing with the main verb reading. Then rest of the sentence, that means extension. here rest of the sentence is more, comma, he will fail in the exam. My dear students, notice again and watch this video very carefully. I have written here, though he reads more, he will fail in the exam. This is an example of a complex sentence, because in this sentence we have noticed that the sentence begins with the subordinating conjunction though. So it is an example of a complex sentence. If we want to change this sentence into compound sentence, then we have to omit at first though. Subordinating conjunction will be omitted, and I have omitted here though in this sentence. So after that we have to write down the first part of this sentence. I have written here he reads more. Then instead of comma I have used but. You have to keep in mind that you have to use but instead of comma, and you have to omit it though. Okay, my dear student, then rest of the sentences. This is the example of a compound sentence, and I have showed you how can you make a simple sentence from though connected sentence. And in this sentence, instead of though, I have written here in spite of. I have written here in spite of instead of though. Then I have followed this structure. After in spite of, I have written here the possessive form of subject. Here subject is he, the possessive form of subject he, his, and then verb plus ing. Here main verb is read. I have used read. After read I have used ing, reading, more, and the rest of the sentences. This is a simple way of changing this sentence. My dear students, I have showed you how can you change how can you change a sentence into another sentence. Actually there are three kinds of sentences: simple, compound, and complex, and it is very, very important topic, and you will take 4 or 5 marks. You will find 4 or 5 rules of simple, complex, compound in your exam, in your examination, in your question paper. So my dear students, if you follow this structure, you will be able to change this sentence with each other, and it will be very easy way. And I have taken a class on simple, complex, compound. It is the first class, and I will show you in the next class elaborately on simple, complex, compound. So my dear students, be careful and be attentive on watching this video and share this video. My dear students, be safe. Thank you. Thanks everybody.